I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Preliminary announcements. Roll call.
Councilman Cost?
Here.
Councilman Balance?
Here.
Councilman Alden?
Here.
Councilman Petrucci?
Here.
Councilman Stein?
Here.
Vice President voted in.
Here.
President Engel?
Here. Okay, notice of all public speakers. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Must avoid reference to personalities and personnel-related issues. First speaker, Maureen Fry.
Okay, the first question is to ask you what's happening at 1860 West Street.
We will call him. You want to ask him all your questions because you're eating your 3 minutes up.
I'm waiting for his answer.
He will when he gets his report. He's going to tell us about his West Street then.
So I'll just wait.
When he gives his report, he's going to tell you about 407.
Okay. Okay. Last week at the council meeting, as usual, I wanted to speak and ask. You mentioned that there would be no public comments
Yes.
at the workshop anymore.
Right.
I find this hard to believe and hard to accept because I will ask a question. Who are all of you representing?
Yeah.
What's the answer?
I'll answer that.
Go ahead.
I'm representing everyone who's sitting in this room, including the people that are on this.
So, would you say taxpayers and residents?
Absolutely.
Then I don't understand why taxpayers and residents can't make comments. And I heard Mr. Vashvik say that it's because if there's an issue with money. But we don't know what half these issues are, and now we won't know about it until tonight. I just wanted to say, I think it's very sad that you're not taking public input from the
But we're not,
public.
on work sessions, we don't vote on nothing.
Okay,
You have
here's
your
another
chance
question. We have not had a finance administration meeting in January. Mr. Stein, would you please comment why there was none in January, not to mention September, October, November, December?
Well, last year's meetings, we had budget meetings, which we already discussed. As far as January goes, we started in council. I wanted to align the finance committee with the other committees that have meetings on an ad hoc basis as needed. As you notice, there's no other committee that meets on a recurring basis, so I figured it was time to align them. They have these meetings when they are needed and when they have value and not just to rehash things that council already knows.
Okay, council knows, but we as taxpayers don't know. So I will ask you publicly, please have a public meeting per month so that we can find out what finances are happening. Please?
Take that under advisement.
I hope so. So Mr. Hatch is going to give me that. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Okay, Michael Aldridge.
Thank you. I'm not here to talk about Boone Alley anymore because I give up. I feel you don't care about the lower section of Munhall, as you call it. A four-year survey seems kind of ridiculous to me. Behind the magistrate's office and behind my place is deplorable. You wouldn't have it up here. I'm not here to talk about the ditch on the corner of 9th and Dixon that someone's going to break a leg walking across there by your sewer drain because you don't care. That's the way I truly feel anymore, because it's been there too long. Ray Charles could see it. But I am here to talk about MAPS ambulance service. 2017, we were not in your budget. For 2018, you put MAPS in your budget for $7,500. I hope somebody has pencil and paper, please. We were in your budget for $7,500. At the end of 2018, you gave us $2,500. I only went to Menneson High School and I did go to college and I do have a degree. But somewhere or another, there's $5,000 missing in 2018. So in 2019, we were in your budget again for $7,500. And only because of a couple residents complaining, why don't you do something, you gave MAPS $5,000. So in the country that I'm from, 2,518 and 5,019, that's 7,500. So 7,500 and 7,500 used to be 15,000 from where the school I went to. We only got 7,500. 2020, I sent a proposal up and I sent something to each borough that we serve. And I sent to Munhall a proposal for $20,000. I didn't hear anything, and I see in the budget, MAPS will be awarded $0. So I sort of feel this ambulance service doesn't mean anything to you unless you're the one dialing 911 and need it. You do know what it costs to run an ambulance service. You did it yourself once. But it's even much more expensive than that now. We have a 32 union man shop. And we just did a contract negotiation 3 months ago, successfully. Ambulances are $200,000 a piece now. We have 5. The monitors are $25,000 a piece. And the cart that you ride on, they're $35,000 a piece. So the 2,000, our fuel bill is over $3,500 a month, just for the fuel for them. So we won't get into workman's comp and union employees and things like that, but I'll go by and tell you, I'll come by and tell you. Our net profit, our net was $23,000 for our year, and we owed $25,000 on our monitors. So you tell us how much money you think we have. And I keep saying it, but you're just going to wait and you're going to find out the hard way. West Midland paid Baldwin $92,000 a year to run an ambulance, and they do not run other than emergencies. They don't come down just to take you to the doctors or the hospital like we do or whatever. They only run emergencies, and West Midland paid Baldwin $92,000 a year and pay for their fuel. We didn't ask for that. We pay for our own fuel, we buy our own trucks, we do our own maintenance. We ask for nothing but sometimes some support. And when we see nothing on this, for 2020 that you'd help the ambulance service, I was angry when I found out Drew Borsick was shooting down Munhall MAPS for giving us what we asked Homestead for, but we got 3/4 of it, because he said, well, why should we give them anything? Because MAPS ain't giving them nothing. I mean, Munhall isn't giving them anything. So, I mean, Homestead awarded us almost every cent that we asked them for. Other than Drew Borsick and maybe 1 or 2 others voted it down.
Mr. Aldridge, what are you asking? I mean,
We asked Munhall for $20,000. We put it in writing and delivered it last year. We asked Munhall for $20,000.
What's Homestead get?
We asked Homestead for 15, they gave us 10.
What's Homestead get?
We asked in West Homestead for 10, if they give us nothing, I don't care if they go to Baldwin. They'll find out what it costs to run an ambulance.
West Midland's offer, you said 90-some thousand.
West Midland paid Baldwin $92,000 a year to run emergencies only.
Munhall's 2.4 square miles. What's West Midland?
I don't know what they are.
3 times bigger than us. Who the tax base they got?
We transport 3,000 people out of Munhall every year. I don't know how that is possible. I don't know how that is possible every year. 3,000 patients out of Munhall. 2,000, maybe 2,100 out of Homestead, 450 to 500 out of West Homestead. Every year. It seems to be that every year. It's hard to believe.
You're asking for 20,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Jason, you want to take this? About the 20,000.
Well, you awarded us nothing, so if you gave us 15, I'd be happy.
Okay, Okay? He's
But
fine.
first let's talk about the 7,500 we haven't got yet. 2019, we haven't caught up to 2020 yet. You gave me 2,500 in 2018. In your budget, phones out, get your budget, Maps ambulance, $7,500. You gave me 2,500 at the end of December of 2018. Maps in the budget, 2019, 7,500. You gave us 5,000. 2,500 and 5,000 is 7,500. So that's 1 year. So there's 7,500 missing that's in the budget for another year. Then we get to 2020 where we're awarded nothing. That's what I said, that I don't think, you give the library $167,000 a year. Take a damn book then when you get a heart attack and read it. And see how you're gonna get
You said
healed.
that the last time you was here.
Why
didn't you go to the library?
I wouldn't want to say it, I don't want to say it at all.
Okay, okay, what about that building over there?
We paid $450,000 to build that building.
Who's building?
You started out with a garage. That was Mickey's garage,
I'm not saying that.
remember?
Who owns the building?
You own the building.
But you were saying, did we charge you rent?
You did?
Do we now?
No, you don't.
That's a pretty big building.
But when you put us out, you ain't gonna give us back one penny of $450,000. I asked you for the building. I was told no. Because I applaud you guys for what you're attempting to do. So I already know what you eventually may do. I didn't say gonna do. But if you demolish this building, you know, we're up the creek. All right, so I asked you for that building and the parking lot. And I was told no again.
You at the parking lot now.
No, we don't.
What?
We don't park over there anymore.
Who don't?
Oh,
Mark,
No.
this isn't a question and answer.
Okay, I'm sorry.
right. But I'll answer any question you
That's
have.
right. We want to get to the point so Jason can answer it so we can go
All
on.
right.
This isn't a question and answer.
So, Mr. Aldridge, if I may, in 2018, we had an agreement, we would pay $2,500, and then we would have someone, you would let us see your books. Once that happened, another $2,500, and then we would get someone appointed to your board, didn't have to be any more.
No, so it's plain and clear as I'm standing here right now. You will not have a councilman on our board. We will not have a politician on our board.
And we're not asking that, but that was.
Yes, you did. You said have somebody on our board.
It could be a resident, that's all I said, that somebody outside of the
Everybody
board.
on our board is a resident.
Our residents.
My point is that those two conditions weren't met, so in 2018, that's why there was no additional money met. In 2019, we put 75.
Okay, I pay my taxes every year and the conditions in there, you don't give a hoot nanny about Lower Munhall. Come down there yourself. See how raggedy it is.
All right, we heard.
I know you heard, and that's what it always is, partner. I'm only talking about being fair. I'm only talking about being fair. And after a while, you do get
Being
tired.
fair, when the lady before you, she got 3 minutes and you're coming up here. Being fair. You come, Mr. Aldridge, every.
No, I don't. I quit coming up for the last 6 months. I haven't been up here.
But then,
Get the books out. I haven't been up here in 6 months because I'm
I've heard
tired.
about West Midland.
I'm tired of talking about Boone
I've been
Alley.
here now for a long time. Boone Alley's been here that too. I understand that.
You understand it? Why don't you come down there and drive on it or walk on it? Why don't you come down and drive on 9th and Dixon and see if you bust the axle on your car or break your leg walking on it?
Mark,
That's it.
we can't answer questions.
Okay, all right.
Mr. Aldridge,
Yes.
why don't you, well, it's just a suggestion, is do what the library did and get a referendum on a voting.
I'm not trying to put more burden on the taxpayers.
What is that?
You could put us in the budget. You put anything else you want in the budget? Well, okay, but it's still.
Okay.
Well, okay, I'll ask for $167,000 too. I didn't want anywhere near that kind of money.
Well, you don't have to ask for that much.
Well, no, that's it. I didn't want anywhere near that kind of money. I just want to be able to support the ambulance service and continue. We're 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Just making a suggestion.
Rich, he made his point. We'll consider it. Jason, you got.
I just have one question.
Yes.
I know you have that membership campaign. Do you have any idea what your response rate is on that?
Yes,
I
sir.
pay mine every year.
We've never gotten more than $62,000 a year.
Well, but I mean, as far as percentage of residents that actually.
Yes, sir. It's very low percentage. If every resident did Oh, your council. I got $400 in my pocket. I bet you not even 30% of you are subscribers.
I pay it every year.
I didn't say.
No, I have
What it says.
Yeah. But my
Okay.
point is that, like, we have people, oh, I said taxes. We don't, you have people that don't subscribe, so it's.
We got a lot, we have a lot.
It's a revenue
Yes.
issue.
All right,
That's
thank
what
you.
it is.
Yeah.
That's it.
There is Margaret here? Margaret, Lucy, Kara? Okay. That's it. She's good.
She's from the,
She's not here.
all right, report from the Borough Official. Mayor Brennan?
Thank you. So, just to start off, I'd like to address you, Mr. Aldrich.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
So I'm glad you're here. And I would like to see a representative of MAPS here every month to tell us how many calls you've run, to give us an explanation of what you're doing. Let me speak. I've asked this before, I've gone over to your office before, I've spoken to other people before. I think you should be at these meetings and come to our meetings and tell us what you're doing, tell us what you're doing monthly, and get a little better rapport with our councilmen. Could you do that for us? Or send a representative from your board to come and talk to us? And we can know exactly what you're doing and start working with us a little bit better.
Mr. Mayor, we sent over every month what we do, like almost our agenda every month. You knew the number of calls, you knew what we were doing.
I don't see it.
where we're
I've never
trying.
seen
I don't
it.
know where they go. They were sent over.
I've
here.
never gotten it.
So I'm gonna send it direct to you. Is that
I'm
okay?
asking you personally,
Sure.
as the mayor,
I'll promise to get one tomorrow.
bring a representative to our meeting and come and speak to us and say, hello, I'm from MAPS. How are you all today? This is what we've done in the last month. We run into problems here. We had 15 calls up in this area. Whatever you want to speak. We'll give you the time to talk to us.
All right, I'm the president. I'll be here or I'll designate someone to come.
It doesn't need to
every
be you.
month. Oh, you know what,
It
Mayor?
doesn't need to be you.
Mayor, not to step on your toe, but I could ask him for a report like everybody else does for one every month.
We can do that.
And we want to know.
I'm asking for
I
that.
know, but he said he'll give it to you. I want to put it up here.
Whatever.
Who do you want me to send it to?
I'm inviting
One to
you
the
to
mayor
come.
and one to
You
the
got it.
president?
What, me?
You want one sent to the mayor and one to the president,
The mayor gets one, he'll let us.
or the manager? Mr.
Send us
Mayor?
both one, absolutely.
It's not a problem. I can have you one on your desk tomorrow.
That's fine.
Okay.
Please do that. Please send someone. That would be appreciated by me and the people and the council as well.
Not a problem at all.
And I think we should be supporting the MAPS. And I do think we should have some money in the budget for MAPS. A 0 is not an acceptable number. So, council, please take a look at this again, because a 0 is not acceptable.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. So,
Sorry to seem angry, but get tired of
no,
repeating.
that's okay. You didn't throw anything at anyone. So, Maureen Fry spoke here about the meeting last week, and honestly, I have to speak out on that as well. I don't feel, and never have felt, that when you have a public meeting, that the public is not allowed to have input at a public meeting. And I certainly believe that the Sunshine Law states that when the council is talking about something, that the public is allowed to speak on what you're talking about, in layman's terms. If council is discussing or deliberating items, the public is at the meeting, and I know there was public attending the meeting last week who was not allowed. Is anyone listening to me? Maybe I'll just address you. I'll address you guys. You guys are annoying.
We are.
Pretty embarrassing, I'm sorry. So, I feel that if you are coming to a meeting, you're a resident, you're a taxpayer, you're a voting person of this city and town, and you come to a public meeting, and these gentlemen up here discuss something, or deliberate is a nice word to say, deliberation. They're just talking about what they're going to do next week, or what they're going to do later. The deliberation part I believe, is in the sunshine law that the public has to be allowed to discuss, have input on what you're deliberating about. So I can read the Sunshine Law Act. I've read it here before to you in the past, and I'm going to read it again, portions of it, because I think if indeed we're going to go to this level and not have the public input, then you guys may as well not have meetings, just have your own meeting downstairs. And not let the people come, because obviously you don't care what the people have to say. So as a general rule, public participation, I'm just going to read the first paragraph of paragraph A in the Sunshine Law Act, and I'll read it again, and I've read it before. Except as provided in subsection D, the Board of Council of a political subdivision or of an authority created by a political subdivision shall provide a reasonable opportunity at each advertised regular meeting and special meetings for residents of the political subdivision or of the authority created by a political subdivision, that would be a subcommittee or whatever, or of the authority created by a political subdivision for both to comment on matters of concern, official action, or deliberation which are or may be before the board or council prior to taking official action. And I could read another paragraph. It states in there that you need to let these people have interaction. Somewhere along the line, you can't just say, we're going to have a meeting, and you're going to say, okay, but we're not going to let you people talk or intervene or give your point of view. We're just going to sit over here and we're going to say what we want, and the heck with you guys. I disagree with you on your actions, council, and I hope that this is not all council's wishes, because how do you come and to make a decision on something like that? Is this council's rule? Is this what council really wants to do? So I got a real problem with it. So I would like to see council change this, because this is not going to stand. This is going to be challenged. It's going to be challenged by a resident, by someone, by me, but it can be challenged. And if you look down in section C, any person has the right to raise an objection. I object. I object to this action. So, that's all I have to say about that. And there's other paragraphs, you can look it up, there's other explanations on it. I'd like to also talk about the vacancy board that we talked about, and I'm presuming that our solicitor sent this over to our office. Is this from you? This is not from you?
No.
So this is from Joe?
That's what it is.
This is just from you then? It's not from our solicitor. So, at the last meeting, I asked about the public participation, and you said it was legal for them to do that. Correct?
Yeah, I disagree with what you just said. They have to allow the public to comment before taking official action, and they do that at tonight's meeting. The public is allowed to sign up, any taxpayer or resident, and they can also speak on any item that's up for consideration. That satisfies the requirement of the Ethics Act. I'm a municipal solicitor in other communities that they don't allow public comment at the workshop. It's not uncommon. So I stand by my ruling, which was relied upon.
I understand that. I understand you're standing by your ruling, and my answer to that is, it may be legal, but it's not right. It's not the way our country was built. It's not the way freedom of speech is. It's just not right. So, and it can be challenged. So, what I wanted to speak about, the second thing I got was these, we talked about the vacancy board last week, and there was a little bit of discrepancy on what the vacancy board does and where it goes to and how it's done. And I got a report from Joe on the vacancies, and I read it, and everyone has a packet of this, right? You all got one? So I just wanted to go over this with our solicitor here. He can give us a legal opinion as well on on this, but from what I read and what has happened is if there's a vacancy in the mayor's office, in council, wherever, the vacancy would be filled by council, and council would vote on that. And if it was a 3-3 vote for a council person, it would go to the mayor, and the mayor would break the tie in that vote. Is that correct?
Correct.
That is correct. So if the mayor decides on not doing that vote, which I believe I have the option, I can say I don't choose to vote on that, then it would go to a vacancy board. The vacancy board at that time would then vote again and resolve the issue.
Well, it's also time controlled. So council has 30 days to fill a vacancy. If they fail to do it in 30 days, then the vacancy board has jurisdiction for 15 days to fill the seat. If that's not accomplished, then it goes to the Court of Common Pleas.
Thank you very much. And that's all I wanted to speak about on that matter, because the papers that I got from Joe's office, they talk about the time after 30 days, after it would go to a vote that would not have been satisfied. So that's when it would go to a vacancy board, after 30 days. But in essence, it goes to the mayor first. And in referencing that, this just happened last night in West Homestead. There was a 3-3 tie in West Homestead. The mayor cast the deciding vote for that council person, and that's how that position stood. So I wanted to make that clear, because we sort of spoke about that last week, and there has been a lot of discrepancy about it by myself, because I really didn't, I argue with my attorney, and she tells me all the time I'm wrong, and I try to tell them right. And if you know my wife, you know it's an argument. So, that being said, that's all I have to say tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Solicitor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have one item. This is follow-up to an action that was already taken and approved by council, but we have to conclude by adopting the resolution. This is for the tax anticipation loan from Brentwood Bank. The terms are exactly what was reviewed and approved previously, which is a loan in the amount of $1 million at the interest rate of 2.25%, which matures at the end of this calendar year. Now, those are the typical requirements of a tax anticipation loan. The bank sent voluminous documents for my review and approval. There was one minor change that was made. So at this time, council needs to make a motion to approve the resolution and note for the tax anticipation loan with Brentwood Bank.
Right now.
Yeah.
So, make a motion.
We got a motion by Mr. Petrusi.
Question on the motion.
Okay, you got a
Am I
second?
allowed the question?
Yes.
No.
So, this was asked, we've spoken about at the last meeting, Mr. Stein said, we're not going to get a tax anticipation. Did you tell us that?
I did.
You did. We are getting one now, right?
Yeah. I talked to Joe, and what he made clear to me, which I didn't understand at the time. Well, no, what I said was accurate, that we just applied for it. We weren't intending to actually.
So our intention has changed?
Yes, our intention's been changed. And it's because, it has nothing to do, well.
It has everything.
No, it had, no, it doesn't. That building has some impact, but even if that building wasn't there, well, or more to the point, let's say we didn't start doing work on that building until April. That's when taxes start coming in, is in April. We need to pay the bills, the operating expenses for the first 3 months, and our cash flow, until we get there, will not sustain us. So that building, even if we delayed the work for 4 months until April, we still wouldn't have enough money to pay the bills for the first 3 months. That's why it's called a tax anticipation.
I understand what it is.
Okay, so don't blame that building, because that building's just
No,
a
we
fact.
had $850,000 in the bank before. We spent all that money on that building. The building is why we're taking an anticipation loan.
It's a factor, it's not.
It's a big factor.
It's a factor.
Well, okay, thank you.
Can you get a motion that we?
Do we second?
Bill? I know exactly. Do we roll call this, Rob?
I probably could, but it's up to you.
If you think there are going to be some no votes, then it might be easier for her to tally.
Yeah, do a roll call.
One more question on the motion, Joe. What's our balance here?
$478,013.
So then and there's not a lot of money coming in, no tax money's coming in until March, April, like the earliest, right?
Unless we get the delinquent taxes, you know.
So 478 would not get us through, in my opinion, through February and half of March, probably.
Right, even with the help,
That's my opinion on it.
even with the money.
478.
Right. Roll call vote.
Good.
Why not do the extra 1% like you did once before and get money in earlier, like Mayor Bardner did one time?
Mayor Brandon did that.
Huh?
Mayor Bonner didn't do that.
Mayor Bardner did that.
He did.
Isn't
No, there's a
that-
motion.
Okay, I'm sorry, but that pulled in nice money.
That was with Dan Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mayor Barker was here.
He was
Councilman
the-
Fall?
Yes.
Councilman Fallon?
Yes.
Councilman Onda?
No.
Councilman Petrusi?
Yes.
Councilman Stein?
Yes.
Vice President Bodadian?
Yes.
President Eagle?
Yes.
What was the vote total?
6-1.
6-1.
Thank you. Is there a cost on that anticipation loan? What's the?
Well, you can prepay it early with no penalties, depends when we pay it back. I mean, you might pay it back in the summer, I don't know.
20,000?
I don't know.
25,000?
Not that much. Last time we paid it back in June.
Okay.
This would be the game plan here too.
That concludes my report.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're fine. You have my report. A couple things I wanted to just touch base on. Mayor, I know you always ask about the beautification project down at the waterfront.
Yes.
I talked to Allegheny County and they gave us a representative who's going to help us with the easement. We're going to set up a meeting now. Named Gabriel Kelly, he's going to be talking to the waterfront property to find out what the project is and time frame, how often they can get it to take care of it and time frames. It's perpetual. But anyways, just be clear. I want to be clear because I heard something was funny that I'm holding up this project, and I'm not holding up the project. This isn't a borough project.
Right.
This is a waterfront project. They're paying, they got their engineers putting it together, and they're doing all the work. Where the borough came in and where I got involved, when he asked me about permission to be able to use the property, it's not the borough's property. Therefore, I put him in contact with PennDOT, got the right people to meet with PennDOT, and the right people to meet with the county. That's our only involvement, is helping them get the right people involved. This is not a borough project. Because I started with the county, they keep me in the loop, so I'll keep you and everybody in the loop.
Thank you.
The waterfront is being gracious enough to be able to say, hey, this is what it's gonna look like, are you okay with that? So the council, mayor will have some say-so of what they're putting in, what the signage is, like we talked about beforehand. So, but just to be clear that the borough doesn't have much involvement other than this than helping them get the right people involved. And we have a couple things on the agenda about selling the properties to the highest bidders that we put through the last few months. One of them was 2412 Charles Street, which is number 3 Fire Hall. When multiple people asked me about selling that to them when we were doing this other auction for these vacant properties, I said, well, I asked council if they minded if we put that on there to see what kind of dollars we get for it. And we got the highest bid was $100,100. After looking into it, talking to council, the mayor, and having a meeting with Colin, Bob, Dave, myself, Bill, that building, the way it is more valuable to the borough than to sell it to somebody and then have to worry about where we're going to put that thing, put everything that's in there. So I would like to have a motion on the table to reject all bids on 2412 Charles Street.
So motion, huh?
Yep.
Motion by Mr. Petrusi, second by Mr. Bodadian. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Mr. Engineer.
Just have two quick things I'll discuss here. We have a project that we received a community development block grant for. Bid is going to be advertising for bid January 24th. And we will be opening bids in February. It's to replace 10 catch basins. That the money, we received $50,000 from Allegheny County to fund the project. The second item I wanted to discuss is I just want to give everyone an update on the construction at 1860 West Street and the status of where TKA, our architect, is. So the contract that is currently being worked on right now, the base scope is approximately 90% complete. Mentioned in past meetings, there was some fireproofing that was buried in the wall. It wasn't anticipated, wasn't in our original scope. Spent about a month and a half deliberating about what the best way to deal with it was. Determined there was a couple options. One is we could defer it and just ignore it for now. Another one would be to rebid the work. And option number 3 would be to authorize the contractor that we currently have to perform the work as a change. After a lot of deliberation, whether to encapsulate it, it was my recommendation to the borough that they proceed by issuing a change order to the contractor that we have to remove the fireproofing. I believe any other option would end up costing the borough more money, more time, or add more risks to future construction. Whether we choose to go forward with it, sell it, I think this is the right thing to do. The contractors agreed to do the work on a time and materials basis. We're closely monitoring them. They're approximately 30% complete with the work at this point. So that concludes the work that's going on now. I would anticipate the project's going to be 95% done by the council meeting next month. And lastly, the architect, we had a chance to check in with him. He's progressing nicely with his plans. I would say they're at about 90%, and I would say he'd be pretty close to wrapping up his design for borough final review within the next month and a half. Any questions on my report? Yes, sir.
What you find over there, the fireproofing, what was it? Was it asbestos?
Cementitious spray-on fireproofing, original to the construction, and there was asbestos in it. Yes.
And I didn't hear, maybe you said it, the additional cost to remove that or encapsulate it?
They're working on a time and material basis as of right now. As of right now, it's not going to be a small change. But as of right now, they have spent about $20,000 on labor and about $20,000 on material. And we're meeting with them weekly and going through.
So that was an additional cost that we didn't anticipate when we took that over.
It's a change order.
And how do we approve change orders?
Council did a phone vote.
You got a phone vote?
Yeah.
When was the phone vote?
The 31st
31st of?
December.
Can I comment on that?
Talk about the contingency and also talk about where they were in the state.
So one thing, two things. Where the contractor was, they're wrapping up. Their base scope would have been done. They would have packed up and they would have left. They said, hey, we need to know what's going on with this. And we had been deliberating. I had been trying to give council, trying to give the borough the best advice. They were in a position that they needed to make a decision, or it was going to end up costing us even more money. So it's really, they had their backs against the wall, and I recommended that they make a decision in the best possible way. So that That's why it was done then. Number two, we're estimating this change might be $100,000, maybe, you know, so it seems like a lot when you're talking about a $600,000 contract, but the borough has factored into all their cost estimates. We're carrying over $1.4 million of contingency money. So if we get through this and the only unforeseen costs are $100,000, $150,000, you're talking about 2% of the project value. This is, it seems like a lot, but I've been in this industry doing construction projects for the last 20 years. I've never made it through a project of this size without any type of change. That's why we recommend that they carry the contingency. So that was my advice. I don't know if there's any more questions. They're carrying the contingency for a reason. Go ahead.
So, I understand where you're coming from. My question is, the phone call vote, was that needed, solicitor? Is that
Yes.
that's a legal way to do that?
Yeah, because the reason he explained, it was an urgency due to time. They were gonna leave, council needed to act, we didn't have a meeting scheduled, so they could take a phone vote, but they must ratify it tonight.
So
the public vote, which is on the agenda.
So, if I remember correctly,
There has to be an urgency.
this was brought up to council the last meeting. We talked about, we don't know if we're gonna cover it, we don't know if we're gonna remove it. It was discussed.
It was discussed, we really didn't know what, like I said, there was more than one option that we considered. And, you know, council, Colin, you know, you're our engineer, you're our expert. We need your recommendation, because, you know, if the contractor would have left, I can say without a doubt, this would have cost the borough more money.
Well, it is possible for more money, there's no doubt about that, we know that. I just question, you know, I thought phone votes were for emergency type votes, like if it's an emergency situation, which clearly that was not an emergency situation. It's a financial question, but it's not another emergency, especially when we knew it was available, what was going on there the month prior.
Well, this, I can say, this was checked with me and I gave my approval. The manager called me and wanted to know, is this legal to do? And I said, yes, it is, as long as you're ratified with the motion.
That's what I'm looking to hear.
Yeah.
That's what I want to hear. Okay. And thank you.
Well, Public Works. Police chief.
Mr. President, you have a copy of my report. We have 456 calls.
No, we don't.
35 arrests. You know what, I had Becky pull our report for a reason, which I'll get to. 35 arrests, 45 citations issued. I discussed this with the mayor earlier. We're having some problems with our records management system in regards to producing an accurate monthly report. That's why I had Becky pull the report out, because the numbers for the year-end total were not accurate, they were low. I discussed this with the mayor, he's aware of it. I discussed it with the manager, he's aware of it. We're addressing it with our records management company that we contract with, and we're trying to do a hand count back through the year to make sure that our numbers are accurate. We do plan on switching to a new records management system later in the year when it becomes available. Nothing else to report unless you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Eddie, Fire Chief. He's here, but he's not here. Code enforcement officer.
Mr. President, you have a copy of my report. Are there any questions?
Public comments on items for consideration.
Before we get to that, can I address a few other things that I didn't address earlier? Thank you. So, I wanted to touch on one thing that Joe brought up last week at the workshop session, which is important that he did discuss tonight. I want everyone to really fill out our census. 2020 is a census. That's very important that you brought up last week. It's an important item. Please, all you families out there listening, fill out your census. That's how monies are brought into our town, our county. It's an important thing. Everyone needs to fill that out. Secondly, if council chooses to go this method where we're not going to allow public input at the meeting, at the workshop meetings, I'm offering myself as mayor, please come and talk to me or talk to a councilman. I'm sure Mr. Ondo will take your questions. Please come to me and talk to me. I'm more than happy to be a go-between for the residents. If there's any immediate questions, I certainly can still speak at public meetings, and I certainly have the knowledge to represent the people, and I'm here for you. If anyone has anything that they'd like to bring up, I would be more than happy to represent someone in the community.
And I'm always more than happy, I'm always usually one of the last ones out that door. Anybody has any questions, I've always been here to answer them. If they want to ask me something after any meeting, I'll be here.
If I may, I've been coming to these meetings for a long time. I was sort of put off about not being able to speak at the workshop meetings. That's not what I ran on, that's not what you people voted me in for. I will stay here until the wee hours of the morning if you want to talk, and if there's anything I can do for you, you let me know. This is my very first council meeting, but I'll do what I can. I'm here to work for you. You're not here to work for me.
Public comments on agenda items?
I just got one question on item number 2.
Yes, sir.
It says motion to exonerate tax collector. Can you explain that?
Yeah, the tax collector collects the real estate taxes for 2019. The following year it goes to the delinquent tax collector, which is legal tax services.
Okay.
So anybody who has not paid the taxes in 2019 will pay them to legal tax services.
I understand that, but how, I don't know. Maybe it's the way it's.
236,000.
Means you
That
make this person not responsible, so you're not making, so what you're saying is, for 2019, the unpaid taxes, Donna Mercury will not be collecting it, it will be going to legal tax service. That's what you're saying?
Correct.
Exonerate, okay. That just looked funny.
The exonerated 236,587 is the uncollected taxes.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Michael? Michael, you know, just state your name and thing, but people should come to the podium and talk. That's my fault. You were there, Mike, not this other Michael.
Me, Mike.
No, the one behind you, Mike.
Mike behind. I'd like a mic.
Hey, come on.
Call me Michael Dow, 243 Gates. Yeah, the only question one was answered, but the other one, on the one you were going to do the change order, and you gave the rough numbers of 30% complete, so $40,000, figuring this change order is going to be $120K. Now, this will complete all of the work for any kind of remuneration. I shouldn't find any more problems.
The only thing that's going to be remaining is there's asbestos flashing on the roof, which we directed them to leave in place because we don't know when or if a general construction package will come out. Assuming that it comes out in a timely fashion, the contractor's going to come back and remove that flashing and remove the roof stuff as the roofer is doing the work. But that's not a change order. That was included in their original work, and they've agreed to come back and do that at a later date.
Okay, and will there a change order be required for them to come back?
No.
Okay, so there's no additional cost?
No additional cost to the borough, and then at that point, the building will have no asbestos in it, pending a county inspection.
Okay, so, and no other hazardous materials?
No.
Everything's done?
Everything's done.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Zach, add this for consideration.
Motion to refer animal ordinance 1595 to the planning commission.
Motion. Second.
There's a motion, Mr. Cruzy, second by Mr. Brown. Question?
Not a question, just a comment. Have we gotten any other complaints since last spring about the horses?
I talked to a resident just this past week, and she said that in the summertime, because of the smell and the bugs and the flies, it prevents her kids from playing out in their yard. And I think this is, this is for the next family this happens to. So this is gonna cover us for the next time. It doesn't help them, it's not gonna help those folks up there, but this will help if anybody ever.
Well, we instructed those, when this first started.
Call me.
Right, when we first started this, we instructed the people that came to complain, if they have any issues, we can do something if it's a nuisance. If they have smells or they have problems, they come to us, then we can do something. We have not one call or any nuisances, no one has called and said we have a nuisance, or you told me to call. We had absolutely zero calls on that matter.
The lady that lives right next to where the barn is, where the horses stay most of the time, or at night, I should say, has no complaints whatsoever.
And she had both of our cell phone numbers and everything, that the resident that came and brought this to our attention, she came to us, and she had both of our cell phone numbers, and we haven't gotten one call.
I'm asking, my brother lives about 5 doors down the street from them, and I told him, please keep me updated on this. They walk their dog over at Woodhill Park a lot too, and they've never said a word to me. And I ask them all the time, anything. I'm a little concerned, the one thing, because I noticed pigs were included. Now, I haven't seen anybody in Munhall with them, but those miniature pigs are sort of a trendy pet.
Yeah.
And if we have pigs in there, no one can have a miniature pig now if we put this in place.
We've had one person that had, I think, 2 to 3 pigs and never had complaints about it. No.
We don't put it in place. Planning commission comes to us with a recommendation.
Yeah.
Mark, would you be able to give that resident, to Dave, and let Dave talk to that resident?
Any other questions?
In my opinion on it is, the problem seems, there's no severe problem with the horse right now, they haven't complained, but this is where possibly future problems down the road, because novelty pets have become a big thing now, like Jason said, pigs, miniature pigs or whatever. So this is for the future. I mean, there's nothing that we can do, pretty much, unless it is a nuisance with the horses, because
Well, we get more calls.
it's already been done, so if it's a nuisance. we
Pat will
can't.
verify this. We get more calls about dogs than we do.
Okay. Motion and second, all in favor?
Sorry. This is just to vote to send the planning.
To the planning commission.
Okay, all right, yeah, okay.
All in favor?
All right.
Opposed?
Motion to exonerate tax collector Don McCurry in the amount of $236,587.31.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Foltz. Second by Mr. Bonadilla. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to reappoint John Kevinato to the planning commission.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Petrucci.
Second.
Second by Mr. Foltz. All in favor? Opposed?
Motion to reappoint Matthew Bovee to the Munhall Municipal Sanitary Sewer Authority.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Stein. Second by Mr. Rondo. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Motion to accept the resignation of Mark Fallon from the zoning board.
Question.
Motion and second, then one question. Motion and second.
With the second.
Okay.
A motion.
Motion by Mr. Paul. Second by Mr. Petrucci.
Question, Mark, do you have to resign?
Yes.
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Go ahead.
Motion to advertise for the open seat on the zoning board.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Allen.
Second.
Second by Mr. Fox. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Go ahead.
Motion to approve sale of the borough-owned parcel 181E100 located at East James in the amount of $500 to James, and I want to,
Kineski.
thank you.
Motion.
Second by Mr. Fox. Second by Mr. Bonadilla. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good.
Motion to approve sale of the borough-owned parcel 179 and 148 located at Creek Street in the amount of $501 to Ryan Michael Perhack.
Motion.
Motion by Mrs. Fowler.
Second.
Second by Mr. Petrusi. All in favor?
Aye.
I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
These pieces of property that are being sold, are they gonna have to actually go to an attorney and actually have this combined to their own personal property? Or could they leave it as two separate?
No, they won't have to do that. It's a separate parcel.
They can't.
If they want, if it's adjacent to where they live and they want to have it combined, they have to go to the county, get permission, and then this council has to approve it. So I don't think you need an attorney, call the county if you find the right person and you make the request.
Okay.
They don't have to do that.
They don't have,
No.
okay.
I have a question. Were these properties appraised before they were considered for sale?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good, Becky.
Motion to approve sale of the borough-owned parcel 181A081 located at Mary Street in the amount of $1,800 to Kenneth Lockhart.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Bonadilla.
Second.
Second by Mr. Fox. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to approve sale of borough-owned parcel 182A10 located at Virginia Avenue in the amount of $1,760 to Gregory Baranowski.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Stein. Second by Mr. Fowler. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to approve sale of the borough-owned parcel 182A08 located at McWhinney Street in the amount of $22,260 to Gregory Baranowski.
Motion.
Motion to Mrs. Stein.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bonadilla. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to ratify approval of removal of fireproofing at 1860 West Street for the time and materials
We're going to do a roll call vote now.
for this.
Yes, for motion 12.
Okay. Materials which will be monitored by borough engineer. And hang on, let me do roll call. Councilman Falls?
I don't think we have a.
We don't have a motion.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Motion. Motion, Mr. Petrusi.
Second.
Second, Mr. Fox.
Just a question, since, when this roll call vote was taken, since
Right.
Mr. Fallon and Mr. Rondo weren't on council, did they even vote on this?
Yeah, I mean, they could vote, but you're ratifying the vote that was taken when they weren't officially members of council, so technically you shouldn't vote. Because they didn't take the action.
Right, they weren't on council on December 31st.
That's correct.
But do we have enough votes to ratify?
Yeah, still 5 people.
Good, Becky.
Councilman Falls?
Yes.
Councilman Petrusi?
Yes.
Councilman Stein?
Yes.
Vice President Bonadilla?
Yes.
President Ingles?
Yes. Okay. Good, Becky. 13.
Motion to approve November 20th, 2019 and December 18th, 2019 minutes.
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Bonadilla.
Second.
Second by Mr. Stein. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good.
Motion to approve the January 6th, 2020 reorganization meeting minutes.
Motion?
Motion, Mr. Fox. Second, Mr. Fowler. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to pay bills for the period December 18th, 2019 through January 14th, 2020 summarized as follows: $273,924.49.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Stein.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bonadilla. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to approve payroll for the period of December 12th and December 26th in total of $280,171.13.
Motion?
Motion, Mr. Fox. Second by Mr. Fowler. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, any additional?
Just one announcement, I talked to Becky this week, and I emailed Joe too. We put on the calendar the 3rd annual Borough Yard Sale. It's growing every year. We've been doing it on the 4th Saturday in July, and we'll do it again Saturday in July. That'll be Saturday, July 25th.
July 25th.
July 25th. Third annual Borough Yard Sale.
Rob, I'd
And it's growing.
like to talk to you about that, because I had some input from some residents, and I'll talk to you about it after the meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. Anybody else, any additional things? Yeah, Boom.
Just want to mention that House across the street is under contract for over $200,000.
$212,000.
$200,000.
What's on
And one other thing,
Oh, one more.
That looks nice.
one other thing that I'd like to bring up that I had to put a motion on there, and I wanted to make sure I didn't forget about that, and I forgot about a recycling grant. A few months back, the state and the county called us up and said, hey, we want to talk to you about a recycling grant. They kept, we were sitting there, they said, what do you need? We told them. They said, what else you need? We told them. I said, what else you need? We told them. They said, anything else you just bought? We said, yeah, a recycling truck. They said, put that on it. And we got a grant approved for $232,369, which we only have a 15% match. The 15% match will be used, we already paid for a vehicle that we have, that we'll be able to write 90% of that off, so that will pay for us our 15% match. I guess that was a little bit important that I should have mentioned.
Good job. Good job.
We'll address your question after the meeting, because the additional items is for compliment on. All in favor? Opposed? Thank you.